We are all here to send one simple message to the Port Authority. It's time to do your job.
Hear, hear.
No
Right now, show some authority, right. Right now, the Port Authority is planning, there are 2 open houses happening starting today in Surrey. They're being held by the company that wants to export coal. And that company has said in the media in the last few days that they're desperate to keep their company afloat and that they'll export any commodity they can get their hands on. And I don't think it's appropriate to have a company that's that desperate in charge of public consultation. Our Port Authority is the public regulator, and it's their job to consult the public. And so far, they're not doing that. So today, we're going to deliver all our concerns to their offices and demand that they meet with us. We've asked them to meet with us, for the board to come out and meet with us too. So we're going to have the Raging Grannies sing a song for us, have a couple more opening words, and then we'll gather all our materials and head down to their offices.
Say if we don't ship it, someone will. That's the Angel Hucksters promo shell. For years they got away with it, but the dangers make us throw a fit. They're dreaming of their $1,000 bills.
So our Port Authority has a mandate, and they often don't quote the whole mandate. They talk about facilitating trade, but they never mention that their mandate also includes that they're to operate with broad public support in the best interests of Canadians. And I can say, personally, I don't think that this coal export proposal has broad public support. And I know that it is in no one's best interest.
No way.
So we've been saying to the Port Authority all along, we have one reasonable, I think very reasonable request. You need to delay a decision and consult the public properly. And that means holding full public hearings with expert witnesses, with publicly recorded testimony, and a chance for the public to challenge decision makers and tell them what they think. So we're not going to go away until we get that to happen.
That's democracy.
That's democracy.
democracy.
And how many open houses have been planned in your communities?
None.
None whatsoever. And so how is that fair, and how is that democratic, and how is that for getting our public concerns heard? It isn't. It isn't. And I got to say that one of the communities with the greatest expression of concern in the past few months has been New Westminster. And what happens, so there's an open house tonight, and then there's one on Saturday afternoon. And who can tell me what's happening Saturday afternoon in New Westminster?
Kayak Festival Parade.
But the biggest cultural festival of the year in New Westminster is on Saturday. And Fraser Surrey Docks said, oh well. And the Port Authority said, we don't have any plans to ask them to do anything else. And that to me is insulting. That's insulting because this is a huge deal. They want to build a brand new coal port on the Fraser River in Surrey, right across New Westminster, to export U.S. coal. And they can't be bothered holding an open house in New Westminster, and they can't be bothered holding one when it's not on a major public festival.
Shame.
Shame is right.
So basically what's going on is I'm an organizer at a group called Kids for Climate Action. And it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It is a group of kids advocating for action on climate change. It's just that. And I'm going to start this with a little bit of a story, dating all the way back to February, where basically what happened is after the approval of the Neptune Terminals project, we were pretty pissed. And we organized a march to the offices of Port Metro Vancouver, which are about 150 meters that way. We had about 80 kids show up. They locked their doors, they closed their blinds, and we could see security guards circling inside. While they did that, there were children skipping and high school students giving speeches outside. That's not what accountability looks like. Eventually, they let a group of 7 of us go in. And what happened is they promised us that together, Kids for Climate Action and Port Metro Vancouver, we would organize a public forum for discussion of a coal export expansion. And we thought that sounded like a pretty good idea. They told us this would take place before the decision on Fraser Surrey Docks. That sounded pretty good to us. It's not full public hearings, but it's a start. It's a public meeting where we can have our voice heard. And then we decided we're going to have weekly meetings to organize this. And what started happening is they would tell us, no, don't invite your panelists yet. Don't invite your guests. And we were trying to get high-profile, prominent academics out to this on 1 month notice. And they were telling us, no, don't invite them, no, don't invite them. And what happened last week is they canceled this thing. They promised a group of kids.
Shame.
By last week, I mean Wednesday. I suppose that's this week. They canceled this thing. They committed to a group of high school students. And their reason? They could not find speakers to stand up for the projects. They decided that industry attendance was mandatory for their participation. I have no recollection of on February 7th when they met with us, them saying, hey, we're only going to talk to the public if the industry is at our side. They said it was going to be a forum between Kids for Climate Action, organized by Kids for Climate Action and the port, and the public would attend. And then they decided that the industry has to be there, and if not, the port's canceling it. And of course, the industry was not willing to come. The reason was that they were worried it would become too adversarial, and it would be a winner-loser scenario. And basically, what I take that as meaning is they're worried if they come and listen to public concern, their feelings will get hurt. And that should not be a good reason to ignore us. These projects have critics, and we have valid concerns, and they need to listen. The port is not being accountable, and my generation deserves better.
So the Port Authority is governed by a board of 11 directors. 7 directors are appointed by, are recommended by port users, the coal industry, the sulfur industry, people like that, and the federal government nominates those people. The prairie provinces nominate a person, the provincial government nominates a person, and the region nominates a person. So on the 11-member board, Metro Vancouver has 1 representative. And they're all appointees, and we haven't been able to talk to them since we started this process.
We object strongly to the public consultation deceit that is occurring on May 23rd in Surrey regarding the Texada Surrey Fraser Docks proposal to store, transport, and export coal from the U.S. to other ports. And this letter finishes, it is unethical and suicidal to choose short-term gain for companies or individual shareholders at the expense of the planet's health and sustainability, including our own children's prosperity and livelihoods. We've made the right choice before in denying slavery, outright pollution, etc. It is time to make the right choice again. That's from Lasqueti Island. Thank you.
They have the authority to make these decisions, and they refuse to meet, and they refuse to discuss, and they hand all these processes off to the companies that want to profit from exporting coal. And that's not good enough.
We will not be bulldozed.
So let's take all our information down there and sort this out. We've just found out that the doors are locked on the outside to the Port Authority offices. That's too bad. Because normally you can walk down the side of the building and there's a bit of a museum, they talk about all the good work they do and how they care for the environment, and then you get to their offices. But those doors are locked, so we have to go from the inside, and there's no way we're all going to get into their offices. So why don't we walk down together, we'll gather up all the letters and petitions in a bundle, and we'll bring in, one person from each neighborhood to go in and drop them off and meet face to face.
We demand public consultation. We demand public consultation. We demand public consultation. We demand.
Okay, this is in conjunction with the 2,500 we have here, and that's just a cross-section of the objections to this proposal, okay? The port has not been listening to us. We're going to go in and make our submissions right now.
We want to say that we're not satisfied with open houses in Surrey led by Fraser Surrey Docks. We think that's an inadequate form of public consultation. And that the Port Authority, as the governing body, has to do a better job of consulting the public. So what we're calling for is whole public hearings with expert witnesses and all the proceedings recorded, and a chance for people like this to challenge decision makers with their concerns. We think that the process so far has been inadequate, and given the scale of this proposal and what's at stake, that the public deserves a say. And we're disappointed that the board couldn't meet with us today, and we're also disappointed with the fact that to date the board has not responded to our concerns. And so we would like to, if we can meet with the board member now,
receive from you contact information from the board, so we can contact them ourselves?
The board was not available. We did hear from you on, I think it was Tuesday, and the request was for Thursday, and the board wasn't available. Our corporate secretary has passed on the letter that you sent us.
I just want to say that this isn't the end, this is the beginning, and that we will expect to be responded to.
And I do encourage everyone to go to the open houses. There's a lot of information there.
Open houses don't work.
Showcase presentation.
Forcing it
Isn't
down
that
our
like
throat
the-
and putting it in a
Isn't that like the Fox
They've had closed
advising
meetings with other residents
security of the
associations,
chicken
and they
coop?
won't allow the public to attend. We're not getting our answers. We're not getting our questions. And Port Metro has also said that you're going to make a decision by the end of June. That was in the paper. So we'd like to see that rescinded as well publicly, so that we know we have more time to gather our people together to discuss this issue.
And it needs to be recorded.
Democracy requires a dialogue. Yeah. Democracy requires a dialogue from the people in power to those who elect them or to those who pay their salary.
you, and it's our planning department, but I'll make sure to talk to my colleagues. And I really do appreciate your coming.
Are you asking us to believe that not one board member could meet with us? Not one?
They were not available.
We do not believe that. That's incredible. That's unbelievable. It's shameful.
You know, I heard them talking to the media saying, we'd be happy to organize interviews with our staff for you today, the vice president of this and that, but for us, it's just thank you, we'll take this and we'll be in touch. So we're not going away. I think they got the message today that this is just the start, that there's a lot of folks concerned about this and open houses aren't enough. So
There's a Wilderness Committee letter writing tool, and it's directed towards the Board of Metro Vancouver to try and get them to be involved in this more. So I'd urge you to go on our website, Wilderness Committee, and then take action, okay? wildernesscommittee.org.
This is going to be it then. What you're seeing here is going to be the total of it. I have an opportunity, not the other people that live in North Delta.
I tell you, Jeff Scott should have been a politician. He's very good at not answering.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to. I honestly don't, and I think the way it was we were handled, there was no formal invitation to this so that it's addressed to the residents of North Delta or Surrey. It was a postcard that came in the mail. It looked like junk mail.
Nobody's using it here. There's no power. There's one in Washington that's being shut down.